A question that a lot of people are asking about property taxes. It's something I deal with. Many of us do. Joining us now, Chris Douglas, professor of economics, U of M Flint. And this might be just a lesson on economics. And I might ask you some questions. I mean, property taxes. I'm going to ask you some questions that people have asked me. So, property taxes, they've been around a long time. This is nothing new, right?
Yeah, I mean, as long as I can remember, property taxes have been a thing. So going back at least until the 1950s, even before that, property taxes are the way that the local governments in particular raise revenue to pay for public services like public works, plowing the roads, fixing potholes, sidewalks, the local police department, the local fire department. Those are all financed by property taxes.
Gotcha. I've been seeing within the last week, I know I got mine in the mail where I live, but others are saying they seem shocked by the property taxes going way up. And I've got a lot of them from Bay County across the state. It depends. What are the factors? Is it the value of your home? What goes into that increase or even decrease, but it's the increase we're seeing now with some people?
Yes, I don't know what the definition of way up is because there's only
Yeah,
three. Yeah, I'd
thank you.
like to see a property tax bill like this year compared to last year to see what that increase is, because there's only three ways property taxes can increase in the state of Michigan. And this is a function of Proposal A, which was passed by voters in 1994. So we're talking about the history of property taxes, and historically there's been some property tax revolts where voters in a state get upset about how high property taxes are and then pass ballot initiatives. Their first one was in California in the 1970s, and then Michigan had a property tax revolt in the early 1990s. That's
Hmm.
Proposal A, which caps how much property taxes can increase in a given year. So your property tax bill is based on what's called the taxable value of your home. Roughly speaking, that's equal to the purchase price of the home divided by two. So home values rise over time. The value of a home is up by 50% compared to the start of the pandemic. But what Proposal A says is your taxable value can't rise at the same rate that the value of your home is rising. Your taxable value increases by the rate of inflation or 5%, whatever less. Well, unfortunately, with inflation being historically high over the last couple of years, the taxable value of your home could increase by 5%, which could push the property tax bill up by 5%. So I don't know if a 5% increase in a property tax bill qualifies as way high, but this year and in the previous year, taxable values have risen by 5% simply because the rate of inflation has been higher.
So, yeah, I'm looking at the comments that people were sending me. One person saying, and they maybe they don't understand. They say their property taxes went up over 19% from last year, and they were told by their community there was millage increases, swimming pool, baseball fields, and inflation. But it can't be that much, can it? Or just, it
Yeah,
depends on certain communities.
yeah. So one way property taxes increases by an increase in taxable value. That's what we're talking about. That's that 5%. So that's probably what the community meant by inflation.
Okay.
But the second reason why property taxes can increase is because of millages being voted in by voters in an election. So at the bottom of your ballot, like in the November election, there'll be various millage questions, often pertaining to schools. So perhaps that community was talking about a millage to pay for like a swimming pool in the high school or maybe like a community swimming pool. So if it's say a 1 mil voted in millage for a swimming pool, what that means is you take the taxable value of your house, divide that by 1,000, and then you'd pay one times whatever that value is. So roughly speaking, if you have a $200,000 house, divide that by two, that's a $100,000 taxable value. Divide that by 1,000, that's 100. One times 100 means an extra $100 in property taxes per year to pay for that swimming pool. So there's lots of millages out there that get voted in by voters, like we talked about for schools, for various public projects. Like in Genesee County, there's a millage for the MTA, the Metro Transportation Alliance, which is basically the countywide bus system. So there's often millages for public safety. In various communities, there'll be a special millage to fund the police and fire departments. So if voters voted in a number of villages like that, that could cause someone's property tax bill to increase by more than that 5% cap from Proposal A.
Are some maybe confused? Because I know at times I have a mortgage and I'll get a letter in the escrow. I need to put more into it. Could other things have an impact? Like insurances go up. There's other things that people are paying. If they have, a mortgage, you get one, you owe this per month, and there's insurance and everything built in. There's other costs that can go up,
Oh,
and maybe
sure.
people are confusing them.
Yeah, that's a good point too, because insurance costs are rising, both homeowners insurance and auto owners insurance. I've noticed my homeowner's insurance bill has gone up by a few $100s over the last few years. So when you have an escrow on a mortgage, that's to pay property taxes plus pay the annual homeowner's insurance premium. So if you're noticing that your escrow payment every month is going up by, say, 10%, a big chunk of that might be, well, just the annual premium on the homeowner's insurance policy has increased by quite a bit.
Question about real estate. I know you're not a real estate agent, but economics. I bought a house for a decent price, and it went up, I would say, drastically in a lot of neighborhoods in Michigan. I would say I may not be able to even afford this house if it is the price it is now versus when I bought it right before COVID and locked in at a 2%. Is this a where are we at economically with the housing market? Is this a good thing? Because we have a lot of homes, and I know we're tight in Michigan with housing. Where does the housing market stand when it comes to the economics of Michigan?
Yeah, that's a good question. I'm having a hard time figuring that out myself
Yeah.
because when the Federal Reserve started increasing interest rates to try to reduce the rate of inflation, that took the 30-year fixed mortgage rate from 3% up to 7%. And when you have a big jump in the 30-year fixed rate like that, that adds hundreds of dollars, even thousands of dollars to the monthly payment. So you would think housing prices would start to come down to offset that, but they haven't. They've continued to rise. So that's the question, like how are people managing both a higher house price and a higher interest rate, which is causing the monthly mortgage payment to really balloon on top of, like we were talking about, the increase in property taxes because of inflation at 5%, plus any other voted in millages, plus an increase in the homeowners insurance premiums every year. You kind of wonder, are we getting to something unsustainable where things might kind of fall apart like they did in 2008, where people had a lot of adjustable rate mortgages. Those rates adjusted upwards, and all of a sudden people couldn't make those monthly payments and the market crashed. I hope we're not looking at something like that, but I can't discount the possibility just given the fact that we have both high house prices and high mortgage interest rates coupled with the other costs that we've been talking about. I don't think that's a super likely possibility, but maybe it's something just to kind of keep in the back of your mind.
Okay, I locked in at like a 2.5. I'm not selling this house. I'm locking in.
And that's a big issue too. If the housing market, we're talking about the reduction in supply of houses. So I think there's two reasons why there's a big reduction in supply. One, we had the crash 15 years ago. A lot of builders, a lot of skilled tradesmen just lose everything and go out, exit the market, and go do something else. So we have fewer people working in home building now compared to 15 years ago, which means every year we have about 2 million fewer houses built compared to before that crash. So if you aggregate that over the last 15 years, there's 15, 20 million fewer houses on the market right now compared to what would have been the case had the market not imploded in 2008, 2009. And then the second reason why the housing market is in short supply is because of people like us. We bought a house, locked in a low interest rate, and we're not selling because if we sell and buy something else, we're going to have to pay that higher price plus pay an interest rate that's 2.5 times what we're locked into right now. So it's something like 80% of people with a mortgage have a mortgage interest rate of less than 5%. And they're like, we're not selling.
Nope.
So you just have so few people putting their houses on the market, which means that supply is really restricted, which is, I think, helping keep prices up in the face of those higher interest rates.
Last question, see if you want to tackle it or not. Not related to housing, but we're going to be coming into a new year, a new administration. Today, I think the Doge or whatever, the government efficiency, trying to cut different regulations that can hamper the economy and so forth. They want to cut wasteful spending. How optimistic are you that a new administration can do that? Because it's not going to be easy.
Yeah, I mean, good luck to Elon Musk and Vivek Ramaswamy, because lots of presidents before have tried to do similar things with less panache than DOGE, they've called it, a blue ribbon commission to reduce government waste or something like that. But the problem is one person's waste is someone else's benefit. So if you start like targeting, various pieces of government waste, you get pushback from those special interests who might see that benefit go away.
Yeah.
And the real waste is in the defense budget. That's, a $900 billion budget. We're spending, 3-4 times what the next country's spending. But if you start tackling the defense budget, you have the military industrial complex coming after you. And that's a very wealthy, entrenched political special interest. So, good luck with that. And the real spending by the government is entitlements, Social Security, Medicare. We're talking about that's close to half of what the government spends money on. And those are traditionally the third rail of politics. If you start messing with Social Security, you start irritating senior citizens, which are the largest voting bloc.
Yeah.
But if we start talking about a $1.7 trillion deficit, you can't start tackling it without starting to think about entitlements and defense. And traditionally, those two things have been untouchable, which is why previous commissions like the Bowles-Simpson Commission under President Obama got nowhere.
Yeah. Well, wish them luck. They're going to need it.
Yeah, exactly.
Well, I think thank you for taking the time. Once again, I learned something. I hope everyone else did, and really appreciate it. And hope you have a good holiday. Christmas will be here before we know it.
I know it. I hope you had a happy Thanksgiving, Dave, and a Merry Christmas. You have a very festive background, so you're in the Christmas spirit already.
My wife did that to the setback here. Yeah. Thank you, sir.
You're welcome. Always great talking with you.